Yeah, I wanted to come back to also. Well, first of all, the remarketing is an excellent example because once you okay, prospecting means you never heard of, let's say, even everyone's heard of the political parties, but let's say there's a new issue that you're hearing for the first time, and so there's some kind of hook typically that you get thrown for a prospecting ad, and then the remarketing is everything that you see based on the influencers you follow, the news channels you watch, or the articles that you're reading. And a lot of times you will get into that selection bias and opinion bias where you already kind of made a decision on off of the prospecting ad, and now you're just trying to find more information to fulfill that prophecy, so to speak. I didn't want to come back to the Plato's thing, and it's Plato's Five Forms of Government and General Theory from his book Republic. And it starts with monarchy and aristocracy, rule of law, order, and wisdom, or as Plato put it, rule by the wise, as his most favorable style of government, followed by timocracy, which is he gave rule by honor. So he gave Sparta as an example of that. Just everyone is it's ruled by honor, people who value honor above anything else. Oligarchy, ruled by wealth and land ownership, free trading capitalist state. Fourth is democracy, which is ruled by pure liberty and equality, where every person has an equal vote to vote on, make laws, ruled by many, and then that descends into the final stage of tyranny. So democracy, where we are, is only one stage removed from tyranny, which is what he believes all governments kind of go in this cycle over time. Um, so that's where we are.
I learned something new. I never heard of that. I think the honor one is the one I like the most. I'm not saying I'm not arguing that it's the most effective. It's just the one that resonates with me.
Yeah, and I think that well, in here it kind of goes into it's the first one is intellect and wisdom based, second honor based, then greed based, then equality based, and then it all just goes into tyranny at the end. Um, okay, I wanted to talk about another topic, which was this. It's about AI. It's about women. Women are traditionally known to be concerned about body image, that type of thing. There was this big movement over the last 15 years, let's say, of having normal bodies or real bodies being presented in advertising, which I don't know how that's done, quite frankly. I know that they're starting to move back away from that into not normal bodies, I guess. But one thing that we found was that Dove, the company that sells soap, pledges not to use AI models in lieu of real women in its advertising. Your thoughts?
I get their sentiment. I think I don't think it's a wise business move. So I get the sentiment, and if your demographic appeals to that type of sentiment, okay, great, whatever. But from a business perspective, if I can get an AI model that I pay somebody to generate, whatever, that costs me a tenth of what I pay a real model, and they look just the same, nobody can tell the difference, then why in the hell am I getting a real person? This is AI. And if you're a underwear model or whatever else or whatever it is, I think you should be concerned because again, from a business perspective, it sounds great, Dove. That sounds great right now. But say it becomes nut cutting time, and there's another competitor soap called Falcon, and they're coming in and they're using AI and they're crushing you, and your margins are getting real thin. Let's see if you don't consider getting AI models. From a business perspective, that makes no sense to me.
Well, it makes sense to me because people don't like the idea of being replaced by anybody else. And we go to I mean, if you're a South Park watcher, then they took our jobs.
Took our jobs.
So nobody wants their job to be taken, especially by a machine, probably. So in this case, maybe some consumers will, in fact, based on the similar sentiment that they had of we want to see normal bodies, because even though these are technically real bodies that they're showing, they're rare, so to speak. And so now maybe they'll say, well, this isn't even real people, so we don't like this advertising, we're against it, we're not going to buy Dove anymore.
Yeah, man, I don't know, man. I wonder, even when they say something like that, like we're not going to use AI bodies, and I wonder if there's going to be a way to to get around it, but still use AI bodies, which I don't know. But like, here's an example: if a product says it's made in America, doesn't mean it was made in America. And there's some people who are like they want that because it's made in America, but when you really dive down, there might be one little part or whatever it is that was made in America. And so I think that it sounds good, and you are right. There are people out there who don't want to be replaced by AI. This what they're saying is going to resonate with that person. But at the end of the day, from a business perspective, would you rather pay a model $500 or $50 for the AI thing, if even that? Just from a business
Yeah,
perspective, it
no,
doesn't make any
totally. From
sense.
a business perspective, I'd much rather have the AI, and then I would it kind of to what you were saying with marketing. When somebody sees themselves in their marketing, that helps. Well, that was for the carpet cleaners. They see their own ads, that helps them. But if in this case, if there are AI models, then every single ad can be unique to the prospect that's being shown that ad. So if they want to see this type of looking woman or that type of looking woman, whatever their
Yeah.
demographic, it just automatically hundreds of thousands, millions, infinity number of variations can be cycled through. And that's probably what's going to happen. But are people going to like that? If they don't know that it's happening, they won't care probably. But some people might protest against it, and somebody might get canceled. But I don't know.
You just said something that I think was, from a marketing perspective, brilliant. I didn't even consider that because we identify with those who look like us. Um, I'm in a group, and I'll go ahead and put it out there. I'm in a group, and I'm like the only black dude. It's like one of two, maybe. And they're like, hey, how do we get more black guys in this group? We want to blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, you don't. You're not. I mean, consider it, but it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen because the leader of this group is this white guy wearing, Brooks shoes or nuns or whatever. Everybody looks like him. Everybody's wearing the Brooks and the whatever. Like they all look the same. They're all kind of the same looking white dude. People have literally said that. Like when we're at hotels, like all these guys kind of look the same. They're awesome dudes. They all kind of look the same. Why? Because they are attracted to this guy who looks like them, who has a message that resonates with them. Black people, he's not black. So black people are not going to be attracted to him. And this is how marketing is. Whatever you're selling a product, if it reminds, to your point, if you can see yourself there, the product does better. So now imagine that being dynamic. If you're Asian, the person you see is Asian. If you're black, the person you see is black. If you're Mexican, the person you see, and it's your age, that would be, I would love that. Like if I had access to that type of technology, oh man. So I thought what you just said was awesome.
I think that technology, if it's not already available, it's going to be shortly, and we'll be able to run those types of ads, assuming that it's not going to be illegal to do for privacy purposes and things like that. But ultimately,
Yeah.
uh, it's going to be easy to do, very easy to do. So we'll see. That's an interesting point, though. It's like you'll see in groups like you mentioned. It's what do the people mostly look like? What are they? And that's the type of people that'll get attracted to. I think ideally these types of groups, what they're saying is, and what they're wanting is to attract people with those values, regardless of what they look like. And like in an ideal world, that's where everything would be headed. Is you don't pick a group based on how people look, but you pick a group based on how they make you feel. So I think that's where they were coming from.
I don't know, bro. I think they just want to. I think the person asked me just really genuinely wanted more black people in the group, and
But
I'm like,
why?
exactly. That's my point. It's like, does it? It shouldn't. It shouldn't. Like, yeah, be aware of it. But like, I told them, look, if this was, so I don't want to put the group out there, not just yet, but if this was like a black version of that group, us black dudes wouldn't be like, hey, how do we get more white guys in here? Wouldn't give a shit. You know what I mean? So why does it matter when you reverse it? Like, it doesn't. It doesn't matter. Be cognizant of it, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Well, I think that to answer your question, why does it matter? I think it's a very hot topic, and it has been for decades. of race relations and equality of opportunity, things like that. So it is a strange thing to try to get. It's like, this is the percentage of the population that this group is, so therefore they need to be representative exactly to the percentage of the population, which makes it doesn't make sense from a productivity perspective, and because people are attracted to different things and they're good at different things, so it could never be even like that. That's like a communist way of looking at things. But anyway, it is something that's going on.
Yeah.
There's this other thing that caught my eye, which was that Coke creates an AI powered instrument that only plays uplifting sounds. And I want to tell you a cool story that I heard in either Mexico or Hawaii that reminded me of this. And then I want to hear your thoughts about this. Was that their marine biologists or whoever are currently rebuilding reefs that have died. And that's a really big problem. The
Huge.
reefs dying, and it affects it affects everything. Like the
Yes.
oceans are the foundation of life in our world, and it affects everything all the way up and down the food chain. So reefs are dying due to pollution, due to chemicals, due to other whatever it is. So what they've done, and this is brilliant marketing, because that's what it is marketing. But what they've done is set up speakers inside these reefs that play sounds that sound like an active, alive reef. And so that sound attracts surrounding fish because they hear an active reef. There must be food there. I'm coming over there. And when a lot of fish and other life comes to a certain place, life happens. And those reefs start to get rebuilt. They start to grow and thrive again because they were marketed as this active reef, and it was a self-fulfilling prophecy. I love that. Thoughts?
I I I think that's so dope. Marketing to fish, uh, and I think it's brilliant. And also, I think that um, the problem may be being attacked at the body as opposed to the head. Because if that reef got destroyed, and then we do this marketing to the fish, and they come back and build it, if it got destroyed once, it means it can get destroyed again if the contributing factors aren't addressed.
That's true. I'm for some, now that I've said it, and now I started thinking about the fish. Like, how is it ethical to lie to the fish?
I mean, if you're talking, shit. If you could, I was just in the Keys last week, and we were catching fish, and we ate them, and we're putting hooks in their mouths, which they don't have any nerves, which I just learned, so it doesn't hurt. But um, I mean, if we're able to like hook them and then take the hook out of their mouths and throw them back in the water if they're not big enough, certainly we certainly should be able to play some music.
Yeah, but we are. So I guess this is a type of thing that the FTC would not allow if we were marketing it to humans. We can't tell them that there's
Mm.
a wonderful water park in the middle of Kansas that you need to go to, and they show up, there's nothing, and then we don't. But then they build the water park. That would be cool, actually. If people get together, they build their water park.
I
Um,
can't think of a like that the analogy you gave me or the example you just gave me of the fish and the thing and the reefs. I don't. Does that happen in any other fashion with humans? Like, do we get tricked for the greater good of something? I I don't know an
oh
example off the top
well,
of my head.
dude, for sure. There's and I think this is, you could take the, let's say, the Chinese Communist Party philosophy versus the U.S. revolutionary philosophy. Was that in the U.S. it's all about liberty, individualism, the individual above everything. In China, it's the group above everything, and we will sacrifice as many individuals as it takes for the good of society. And you can definitely force people into doing things that they don't want to do for the good, let's say for the progression or for the growth of an economy. uh, that that can definitely happen. So if you trick people into working 5 days a week for 40 hours a week, 9 to 5, whatever. And I mean, depending on the job, like, I would say so many more jobs today are conducive to living a more fulfilling life than there used to be. But let's say in 100 years ago or 200 years ago, especially during the Industrial Revolution, you had to pack people into factories for 12, 14 hours a day, 6 to 7 days a week. I'm sure they would have rather been doing something else, but for the good of this country or society at large, their sacrifice did speed things up for us today. Let's say if they had not packed into those factories, we would not have nearly what we have today.